what I didn't realise then that I know now is that that was the start of my resilience journey.
So today's guest is Lara Hall-Bryce, who is a wellbeing practitioner. Welcome, Lara. Thank you for coming on.
I'm excited.
So I just wanted to say to the audience who's listening, I followed your journey since 2022 on LinkedIn. Now, the reason I followed your journey is because it reminded me so much of mine, of you selling your house and you moved away. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, and likewise, I followed you for the same reason, completely not normal behaviour.
I think it's us Northerners.
It must be, it must be. So, should we start from 2022? Yes. Okay, so my career completely changed actually in the worst year that I ever had. So 2002, you probably started following because it was the change and you might have felt the shift, but I actually sold my house at the start of 2021. So December 2020, my son was born, and it was right in the middle of lockdown. I spent the whole pandemic pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And
That must have been hard.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, I found it hard just like being in the house with my daughter.
Yeah. I felt like the four walls of my house were just getting smaller and smaller. So my daughter Arabella was actually only 17 months when KO was born, my son. So being in the house with the toddler as well, I worked online. So actually business was quite good for me that year. And I was busy, but it was so hard because I was juggling obviously a toddler and a pregnancy, couldn't go out anywhere.
I was just going to say that. What did you do in regards to your appointments and stuff like that, being pregnant?
So everything was just me. My husband couldn't come to anything, not one single appointment, not a scan, nothing.
That is heartbreaking.
Yeah. And I think that, there's a lot of women that I speak to who had a baby at the same sort of time. And I think it's catching up with them now, like what that time actually did to them. Like I felt like I had a secret baby. Nobody saw me pregnant. It was just few and far between, because if you remember, so I actually got pregnant on the 5th of April. It was my birthday.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh, what a blessing!
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
But it was right at the start. So I think we went into lockdown. It was like the 22nd, 23rd, something like that of March. So it was the whole of lockdown. So the hard lockdown. Then we were kind of like in this...
You can go out, no you can't.
You bubble, you can go to zone 2 or whatever.
You're only allowed on one walk.
Yeah, it was mental, and it kept changing. But then if you remember, in December 2020, we kind of come out of it a little bit, but then I'm sure it was Boxing Day or around that time. So we had Christmas, and then we went straight into a really hard lockdown. Yeah. Do you remember? And so I had my son on December the 14th, so literally, new baby, finding my feet. I wanted to see my family. I wanted to see my friends. Kind of got used to a little bit of freedom. And then we went back into this hard lockdown. And, it didn't actually last that long. But at the time, I just felt like I have no control over this situation. We have no idea how long this is going to go on for. This could go on for years. And I felt physically, mentally, everything was just declining. My son was quite a challenging newborn as well. He didn't sleep.
Really?
So just being in a house with a 17-month-old and a newborn during that lockdown, my mental health just went. And I just remember saying to my husband, what are we doing here? I don't want to do this anymore. Why don't we just take a leap of faith?
Pack the bags now, let's go.
No, I did. So in the January, so my son was only maybe 3-4 weeks old.
Oh wow! No, listen, I used to struggle taking Lily away when she was like a young girl, like on my own. Never mind newborn.
Yeah. So this is when we put the house up for sale. So 3-4 weeks, put the house up for sale. I had family, friends thinking, "Are you okay? Like this is not a normal thing to do. It's the global pandemic."
She's erratic.
No, it was. And like when I say it out loud, I think, "Wow, like that was a pretty bold move to make." But at the time, I had complete clarity. Like I knew that's what I needed to do, because I felt like if I sell my house and move abroad, at least if I'm still in lockdown, I'm in the sun. I can be out in the garden with my kids. It just felt like that's what I was leaning towards. I needed to do something. Yeah. So I put the house up for sale. It went within hours. And then but by the time we'd obviously exchanged and stuff, it actually was May. Yeah. So my son was 4 or 5 months old by that time, and we moved to Crete.
We went there, we sold everything, and I mean everything.
I know, I was watching you.
Yeah.
God, she's amazing, look at this.
Yeah. And again, like, it sounds really crazy and like ballsy.
Yeah.
And it was, but honestly at the time there was no stress from my side. I was excited. Yeah. I was just like, let's do this. So went there, loved it. Absolutely loved it, thrived. Everything went well. Everything operated as normal because everyone was still online at that time then. So it didn't feel like we couldn't do work still. We thought we were going to be able to stay for longer, but of course Brexit had just happened. You can't stay past 90 days now.
Oh yeah,
that's right. So
is that now, or was that the same time when you was there?
So right now it was Brexit on the 31st of December 2020, wasn't it? So from 2021 onwards, we're no longer in the EU. So you can only stay for 90 days in a rolling, I think it's a 180-day period. But we did hear that there's a visa coming that would allow us to stay for a year, which was called the digital nomad visa. So and again, this was pretty stupid looking back, but we were like, oh, it'll come out by the time we're there. Bearing in mind we sold our house, right? We had no possessions. Right? So it was a pretty silly move, but it didn't happen basically. So the visa didn't come through. So actually we had to come home, had to find a place to live online, didn't even go and view it, had to rent somewhere.
Oh wow.
But we did it and it was fine. So came back, everything didn't feel as good, but we were back to normal in terms of life was out of the pandemic and all that sort of stuff. And then actually I lost a baby.
Oh my gosh.
And so this would have been roughly when maybe you would start following me. So lost a baby. Funnily enough, it was actually the 14th of May that I lost the baby. And on the 13th of May, when I was actually in hospital, because I had to deliver the baby, when I was in hospital, my dog died as well. We'd had the dog for 10 years. If you dog owners, you'll know, like, oh my God, I felt heartbroken. I can
imagine, that's awful, Lara.
Really, really devastating. So that was of the May time. I made a few really bad business decisions as well, without going into too much detail. Partnered with a couple of the wrong people. I took it personally. It really broke my heart. Some things that happened.
I take everything personal.
Yeah, I did. Just like, it really hurt.
Yeah.
I made a 40k investment with money from the house that we'd sold that tanked. Absolutely tanked. So I had just like this string of events that happened.
So you invested 40k into a new business, and it
was into shares actually. Into shares, so it just, and I did a few other things as well, but it just felt like whatever I touched didn't work.
Yeah.
And because I was still grieving over losing the baby and my dog, and I was also a bit sad that I wasn't in Crete, because we had to come back against our will. We were living in a house. It wasn't our house. It was rented. It wasn't really a house I wanted to live in. It was just what we could get into at the time, because everything was so rushed. I just felt like
everything's just gone.
Yeah, honestly, it was probably the most scariest time of my life. I actually, in that time, my mental health declined so much. I actually looked at my life insurance to see if I killed myself, would my husband have a payout? Yeah.
Oh, and Lara, I've got goosebumps.
Yeah, it's an important message, because if you'd met me, you probably followed me at that time.
Yeah.
It would have been this.
Yeah, no, because when I was following you, I just thought, oh, she's living out there. She's just she's owning her stuff. Because I think I was watching you, and you were going through, you were doing some kind of training or something.
Yeah.
And I thought this girl's amazing, like, because I think I'd seen that you told your house and stuff like that. So I thought, oh, I can resonate with this.
Yeah.
And then I was following you step by step, and I just thought, on the outside looking in, you look like you had it all together. Yeah. You looked happy, and like. You were with your family. Yeah. Little did I know you were going through absolute turmoil.
Yeah. So the end of 2022, things got so bad. I actually more or less stopped working. I was doing, because obviously I share a business with my husband. I was doing bits of behind the scenes stuffs, admin, VAT returns, all the really exciting stuff. But I had no ambition, zest for life. I just felt like I couldn't do anything. It was really quite scary, and. Then my husband said, right, the visa's come out to go back to Crete. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I do actually. I need to get out. And then that was a massive turning point. I don't know what made me do this, but it's really given me a lot of patience with other people that do this as well. You know, when you have a New Year's Eve and you kind of attach everything to, everything will be better next year.
Yes.
On New Year's Eve, I'm going to do this, this and this. And
I do a vision board on New Year's Eve.
Love that.
With my daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll sit down, we do the vision board, we set our intentions for the year ahead.
Yeah.
Every single New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's effectively what I did. But I started thinking like this sort of towards the end of the year. So it wasn't quite New Year's Eve yet. And by this point, I'm back in Crete, by the way. So we're back in Crete, loving it.
Can I just ask, like, what made you go to Crete?
So I've just got a bit of a love affair going with Greece, to be honest. I got married in Santorini and then we went island hopping. This was before kids. We did a couple of months island hopping around all the different islands. So I just love it. I love the food. I love the culture.
Yeah.
And then we looked at Crete as a place to go with the kids because they're open all year round.
Yeah.
It's a massive island.
Okay.
They've got, nurseries and all that sort of stuff. It's not so much a holiday destination.
Right.
So that's why we chose Crete. That's where it comes from.
Sorry, I just needed to butt in for that.
So we're back in Crete. Everything feels a little bit lighter, honestly, because I was in the sun. And if I'm being honest with myself, there was a little bit of escapism. I wanted to get out of the UK. I wanted to forget what a crap year. Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this? Yeah. Okay. So I was there, and then you probably were following this part with the training. So I decided a little action plan. Yeah. Like enough was enough. Like, and I got on a call with Dr. G, who I now work with. And she didn't really know me that well at this time, but she'd been like you. She'd followed me for a bit. She'd come on some of my calls with a previous company that I was working with, and she was just like, I like you. Like, I want to do some work with you. Yeah. Honestly, you are a likeable person, Lara. So a bit like you, she actively pursued me. She's like, we need to do something. So she got on a Zoom call with me, and I was just at this headspace of, I just want to say yes. I want to start doing something a bit different. And she said, I'm going to be doing this course. It's on change behaviour and wellbeing improvement in public practice. Would you be open to taking a look? Like, what are you doing right now? I was like, well, to be honest, I'm just really kind of, working with my husband, supporting him. She's like, you need to get out of this. You're an entrepreneur. What are you doing? That's how she said it. Like, yeah, snap out of it. Snap right out of it. Come on this course. So
I'm mad, like, everything aligns, like, I was so supporting then. Yeah. It just like, but that would have been something that you needed. You just needed someone to say, you know what, you have still got this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And she did. And it was no nonsense. I think I asked for it as well, and I believe in that. Like, I was ready to receive. Yes. I was ready. I was still not in a great headspace, but I was open-minded. So, and when she said it, I was like, yeah, I'll do that course. I've always worked in well-being, but like the psychology side of it is something that's always been, and of interest to me. And it always comes up in well-being, relationships, mental health, but I didn't necessarily have, any knowledge of it, studying it. So I was interested. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. At the same time, I also started doing counselling, so counselling skills. Yeah. So there's quite a lot of different qualifications doing that. I thought, I'm going to start that as well. I really wanted to explore just like that
I bet that helps you though, learning all that to deal with your trauma and stuff like that. That would have been brilliant.
Yeah. What I didn't realise then, that I know now, is that was the start of my resilience journey. Yeah. I actually became more resilient because I worked.
But you were learning along the way, You were learning yourself.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I rolled up my sleeves, got to work. I've actually done a lot of education. Like, it's crazy, actually. So probably the equivalent of about 7 or 8 A-levels. Wow. I've done in just under 2 years now. Wow, all within sort of counselling, positive psychology. I've done life coaching, the wellbeing improvement, change behaviour, and I've just become absolutely obsessed with it. I love it. I didn't know that I would even love it as much, because you don't know what you don't know, and I love it. I'm really interested in like evidence-based theories to help support someone.
Well, I was just going to say that because you've been through such traumatic experience, you will but if someone comes to speak to you or anything like that, when you've experienced something so similar, you can relate better. You can tell the emotions, and you can speak to them on a personal level.
Exactly. And I actually felt like when I was reevaluating where the next chapter of my career is going, when I was in that real dark time, I looked at, what is my natural skill set? Like, what am I good at? Rather than thinking, what's a good business idea? Where can I make money? Where can I hustle? It was more about where can I add value? And what do I naturally bring to the table? And a huge piece is empathy. I've known that I've always had that inside me, and I think I'm a good communicator as well. So it's like, how can I use that? And that's how I kind of came to it. Yeah. So as a result of doing the course with Dr. G, built a great friendship. She came out to see me in Crete.
She's fantastic as well. I've started following her since you.
Yeah. She's a very, very clever lady. I mean, she's got a doctorate in resilience. So she knows all about just how important it is to host resilience in your life. And gradually we've just been having more and more chats in how can we kind of link arms on something. And she was working on a book called Resilient as Fudge. It's a great book. and she already had her own corporate wellbeing business, and she was actually offering the Resilient as Fudge method, the teaching, within that business. But as time's gone on, she thought this could be a standalone brand.
Yeah.
And then she reached out to me. She was like, hey, would you like to get qualified as a certified trainer within Resilient as Fudge? And that was the first piece. And obviously, because of all of the training that I've been doing with counselling, the change behaviour, the life coaching, I was at that level where I could say, yep, like, let's go with it. So I did that first. And then that's kind of progressed. She's offered for me to basically partner with her within that company.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And that's so now that's actually what I've been working on ever since. So still working with my husband, doing wellbeing, still love that. And that's all very nutrition, fitness, online coaching.
That's fantastic as well, what you have going on.
So I've got a good broad
You've got
range.
loads going on.
Yeah, loads.
Yeah, but this will help you as well.
Yeah. Oh, huge. But I think being able to have patience, and also I've just got such a deep understanding now that what you see right now isn't necessarily the full story.
No.
There could be, for you coming here this morning, and for everybody else in this room or anybody listening, it's a completely different journey, and you have no idea.
Yeah, it's like me watching you online. Honestly, you wouldn't even have a clue.
Nope.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because you think you genuinely never know what someone's going through.
No.
Like mentally.
No, that's it. And the question is, well, how do you support it?
Yeah.
You know, and I think
it's getting them people to open up as well, and to feel a bit like. You could tell, like, first time I met you, I was like, I need to get you on the podcast. Like, listen, we'll go to town on this.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you know that you can speak to someone and you being how you are as a person, so you'll help so many people along the way.
I hope so.
Especially with your story as well. Like, that is heartbreaking to go through all that in one big, back to back.
Yeah. It was I can't stress enough what a low point in my life, a scary low point. And I would have classed myself as quite a resilient person before. You know, we touched on it earlier. I spent most of my childhood in a wheelchair.
I know.
I had to learn to walk 3 times. I have had quite a
And that's how you actually got into what you got into. Go on, tell us about that.
Okay, we'll go there then.
Yeah.
So it's
I told you be you.
It's ironic, really, because, you know, and every cloud has a silver lining. So when I was a child, I suffered from a condition called fibrous dysplasia, which meant that it's like a bit like a disease in your bone that makes it grow differently than the other one. And so it grew at a slower pace. So I've got one leg shorter than the other, still to this day, actually. But then it was quite a considerable difference, and my knee didn't grow quite in the right direction. So long term, you know, I would have had a lot of complications walking or really doing anything physical. So I had 3 operations in total. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen it, you know, when people have the pins in with the
Yes, I have.
frames. Yeah. So I had that for pretty much all my childhood, to be honest.
Wow.
And during the time that I was having the ops done, I had to have my leg up like this. I wasn't allowed to bend it, in a wheelchair.
From what age?
That was from 9 to 14.
Wow.
14, 15. Yeah. So, you know,
that must
the
have been
majority.
difficult.
It was really hard because, you know, not being mobile is
Especially
something you take for granted. And a child, you know, and I was actually quite into being physical. I loved dancing and all that sort of stuff, and it all came to a grinding halt. So that was difficult. But actually, I was quite resilient as a child.
Yeah.
Like I think kids are, aren't they? So I just kind of accepted that this was my reality, you know, and I learned to walk again and kind of integrated back into school. But I did get bullied. I got really bullied a lot because I
hate bullying. It's horrible. Yeah. Makes me cry, bullying.
Yeah. When I look back and think of myself, then it makes me cry. Yeah. So I wish, because I didn't even really speak about how bad it was. I didn't want my mum and dad to worry. So, but it was a lonely time, a lonely existence, really, because I wasn't bullied as in physical. There might have been a little bit of mental there, but that actually wasn't the worst for me. It was the isolation, people not talking to me. So being in a classroom full of people and no one talking to you, and I had no confidence by this time either. So I wouldn't just wheel myself up and be like, "Hey," I just felt like I couldn't. And actually, the way that the classroom was designed, I could actually only wheel into like the front bit. I couldn't get down like, you know, the rows. Yeah. So if people weren't near me, I just couldn't talk to anybody. So, and this is what I mean. Every cloud has a silver lining. Maybe this was always meant to be. First of all, because I really value patience with people, understanding that people have disabilities, and just being kind overall, because I felt how it is not to receive kindness. But also well-being on a whole, like how important it is to stay fit and healthy. Would I have had that then? Oh, actually, and lastly, so this is the crazy thing, because I was so isolated and nobody would talk to me, I looked at what I could do to get out of that classroom at lunchtime. I was like, how can I kind of avoid this situation? So one of the extracurricular activities was speaking in verse and prose, which is effectively public speaking. So I was so shy, painfully shy, but I was doing this public speaking course, but it was just me and my teacher, and actually that felt comfortable to me, and I learned the craft. I actually did the whole thing, and I'm actually qualified to train public speaking.
That's crazy.
As a result, and that's come in really handy as 100%. An adult. Yeah.
And with everything that you do now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're at a speaking event this Thursday.
Yeah.
Go on, tell us about that.
Yeah, so on Thursday, I've got a keynote for a company called Explore. They provide online solutions for payment solutions, CRMs and things like that for gyms, and I think for schools as well, actually. But this event is just for gym owners to come along to. I think there's probably going to be around about 100 people there, and they're really looking at, right up my street, they're looking at evidence-based models to help psych up the person, psych up the team. So I'm actually doing a piece on resilience within teams.
Oh,
so
brilliant. Is that with Resilient of Fudge?
That's right, yes. I'll be talking a lot about our method, as well as a few other surprises that I've been working on, and just really getting people to see exactly what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Being patient with people, building your own resilience, and helping others do the same as well.
That's fantastic. So what would you say, what's going to be next for Resilient as Fudge?
It's quite exciting, actually. So 2 things that I'd like to share. So first of all, we're really excited about turning it into a bit of like a franchise model.
Okay.
So at the moment, we just have our consultant trainers that each look after their piece. So we've got somebody who looks after like education, so resilience in schools, for example.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, really cool. Such needed as well. We've also got somebody that heads up retail. So, people that work on busy shop floors or just retail in general. It's a stressful environment.
100%.
Also within wellbeing and fitness, those people. And then I actually look after the corporate side, so working with businesses to help them be resilient. And that's great. But long term, it's like, okay, how could we expand and grow this? And how could we make this a tool that's just going to affect? We've got a goal to make a million people resilient as Fudge.
Oh,
big goal. Yeah,
but listen, I think you've got it in the bag, you two.
I hope so. But it's going to take a lot more people. That's for sure. So we'd really like to offer a franchise model where people can actually get qualified as a Resilient as Fudge practitioner. So they'd need to have some credentials before coming in, whether it's well-being, etc. But it's not just necessarily for anyone, is what I'm saying. But we'd actually get them qualified as
you
trainers.
Train them?
We train them, and we'd effectively give them like a ready-made business, and they could offer that maybe as like a complementary business to what they already do, or it can help them become qualified within their organisation. So, for example, a HR lead that maybe wants to be able to do their own training in-house, they could become Resilient as Fudge qualified. So that's the model that we're working on that I'm quite excited about. A bit like Tony and Guy. Tony and Guy hairdressers. So Tony and Guy doesn't work at every single hairdressers, but you can be a Tony and Guy franchise. So it'd be a bit like that sort of model.
Love that.
Yeah.
And that is this all over the UK?
So all over the UK, that's initially, but who knows?
Global
baby.
Crete's got to be on there.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love that. I'd be heading up that. And then the second piece is, and we've not quite sort of worked out exactly how it's going to look, but something that I'm really excited about is we will have a piece that's like a bit of a legacy offering. So for when we get X amount of spend from a client, or if we hit a certain target as a company, we're actually going to be doing pro bono work. So we're doing it for free, maybe working with some partnering charities, or just for people who need it, offering open courses. We need to figure it out, because obviously it's got to be a model that's sustainable. But I'm really inspired by Tom's. Tom's, the shoe wear?
Yes.
So for every Tom's pair of shoes you bought, there was one donated.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, do you remember?
Yeah.
So I'd love something like that,
Love
where
that.
we're constantly
giving back,
paying it forward. So yeah, we're probably about 12 months away from putting that in place, but we're working on it.
Isn't it crazy, right? When you always look back, I look back and I think how everything starts to align. You think sometimes you have to go through the absolute roughest of the rough to get onto the path that's meant for you. I genuinely believe in manifestation, law of attraction and things like that.
Same.
And like everyone thought I was crazy when I was selling my house, but I was just thinking it's got to be done, and it just landed me on this path now, and like I genuinely know that this is the path for me.
It
and
is.
like when you were going through all that bad patching, like you're moving to Crete, who'd have known that while you were there, Dr. G's going to reach out, and then you two are working together.
Yeah. The thing is about that time of my life, even though it was the darkest, it was the making of the best.
Yeah.
Really was.
And it's a sad way when you think of it, is to go through all that and you think, well, maybe, should I have been blessed with that? Maybe not. And then maybe you had to go through all that so then you can experience and be who you are now to help others.
Absolutely. Yeah, and a big thing that we teach in the Resilience Fudge method is it's not just about bouncing back. That's kind of like the old-fashioned theory. It's not just about bouncing back. It's about stopping you from falling.
Yeah.
To begin with.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. Yeah. And bouncing back stronger than ever. Not just bouncing back. We want to come back a better version.
And it becomes part of your lifestyle. Like you're continuously growing.
Yeah. But it takes time. It's like gym for the brain. That's what we call it. And it's
how
true.
do you feel now?
I feel great. I'm at a really, really happy time in my life. Yeah.
You can tell as well.
Yeah, it is.
You deserve it. You have worked really hard. Like,
and you deserve it too. I've loved your journey. That's why I was so excited to come here. I was like, oh, yeah. I feel like we're friends online for so long.
Well, we was. I was like, that stalker.
Yeah.
There she is again. Proper rooting for you behind the screen. Yeah. But it's how mad is it? Like I followed your journey on LinkedIn, and then I just felt like I knew you, and then I thought I need to meet up with her. Yeah. Well, you were in Crete for so long, and then I thought I'm sure you said that. I seen a post you were in Manchester. I thought I need to see her. And now she's in Manchester.
You did, yeah.
And then when you first come in, I just felt like I knew you. It's crazy, isn't it? Because when you relate to someone, it's like you start to grow that like trust and credibility against them online.
Yeah. Oh, you do. I think, that is the beauty of the online space. It comes with a lot of problems, as you know, and they bring burnout and whatnot, but also it's amazing, like how you can connect with people and get to know someone that you would never have met before. And it's energy as well, isn't it? Energy's everything.
I believe in all that.
Yeah.
I'm not on any personal social media. I'm only on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I mean, we have other platforms, but that's the only one I predominantly use.
Yeah, that's interesting that you've said that, because as I've been away this week and I just completely turned my phone off, one of the things I decided is the rest is going. I don't need it. I don't really even go on it.
I've not had it for years, and it's the best thing that I ever did.
Yeah.
Like, I was one of them. We did this in the office not long ago about Stress Awareness Month. When I was on social media, I would literally scroll. One post could knock me off my bounce. My vibe was gone for the day. My energy was gone.
Yep.
And it's like, I thought, why am I sat here watching other people's lives that I don't know? I got rid of Facebook about when my daughter was first born. Instagram were about 4 years ago, and I've never looked back.
Yeah. Good for you, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I actually don't contribute that much to it, to be fair, but it's the scrolling.
Yes.
It's the looking at stuff that I don't...
You can spend hours.
Even strangers, it's like, I don't even know these people. Why am I looking at them? And it can be quite triggering.
Yeah.
There's things that you can see that can actually trigger something really deep-rooted in you. And all of a sudden you're
That's
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Why?
And because it has a knock-on effect next minute. You're down a rabbit hole in your thought process.
Yeah.
That's what it was like with me. Whereas on LinkedIn, I feel like I've met so many people, like so many nice people that I class as friends now.
Yeah.
It's like it's built so many relationships, and like the connections that we have, like all our businesses come from that platform.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
And it's insane.
Yeah, it's a great platform. Although I will make one observation, and I'm curious to know what your take on this is. I have noticed as LinkedIn has sort of evolved, and it is evolving, it's much more social than it used to be, which is a good thing.
It used to be just for like your CVs
Jobs.
and stuff like that. Now it's totally different.
Yeah, it is. But I've kind of got this acute awareness now, people play into the algorithm. And there is all this like rags to riches story or overcoming something story. And don't get me wrong, like I love to hear success stories, and I've shared my own as well. It's good to be real and authentic, but I'm wondering the authenticity of a lot of them.
Yeah, like that is what you've got to pick up on.
Yeah.
It's like, what I can't stand on that platform is when people are saying, I'm making 6 figures within 6 months, giving people false hope, and I just think, you're a liar.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not that at all. It's hard.
Yeah.
If you're doing it organically, it's hard. Yeah. You've got to be beating the drum daily, and you think, I'm repeating myself here, but you've got to be, if you want to be known for a certain thing in your industry, you have to keep beating that drum.
Yeah.
And
it takes time.
Yeah, it does take time. It's like we're 20 months in, and like I'm still at it now.
Yeah.
Do you know? There's no like overnight success. It's a journey.
Yeah.
And I think the falseness on there is what does need to be stopped, 100%.
Yeah, or just, getting a little bit carried away. You could have one 20, 30 grand month, which, by the way, is awesome, but it's like, how many times have you done it?
Yes.
Don't share it as if, that's what you're doing every single month.
Yeah, see, one thing is on there, I'm dead transparent, and I had a message not long ago saying, some things like I'd hold back and I thought, well, you know what, I always go down the route of being transparent and accountable, and it's like I wouldn't be being my authentic self if I didn't reveal the bad things, because it's like I've put a post out not long ago about making mistakes, and that's when I got the message, you should keep some things in, and I thought, well, hang on a minute, I'm not just going to sit here and say, we're doing this, we're doing that. Listen, there is highs and lows as a business owner. Like I've got a post out where it's on about like business owners have got to have this perception of being all upbeat and positive and all that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Human.
I'm not scared of being my true self.
Yeah.
Like, anyone not accepting me of that. If you don't like it, don't follow me.
I love that. And that's why you're doing so well and you're growing so well. I know in another 2 years you won't be here. You're going to be in a bigger office.
We hope
and
so.
I hope I come to that office.
You will.
I actually think if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I'd want to come and work here.
Oh,
I've said that before. Yeah, I'd love to.
that.
Yeah, because you can tell that the energy's right, the culture's right, and that's really what makes a good business.
That's
or even
so
if you're just self-employed, like on your own, it doesn't have to be this massive, corporation that you're building, and that's where LinkedIn can go wrong. Like there's nothing wrong with actually just having a career that you work really hard at, working for somebody else, or working small, working self-employed, and being happy in what you do.
That's one of the main things that I've always pushed with the agency, is making sure, like one thing that I always say, I piss my team right off, because I'm constantly going, are you happy? Is there anything I can help you with? Just the little things that I never had when I was in employment, the micromanaging. I go on a lot about that on my LinkedIn and stuff like that. Like I've been in that position, so I know what I didn't like.
Yep.
And I consistently ask my team, what is it that will make your lives happier? Like we're fully flexible now. I want to work around them.
Yep.
Because that's so important.
Yeah. I completely agree, and I think actually more businesses are going to be like that.
Yeah.
We'll see a huge change, and probably that's one good thing of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's really opened people's mind to flexible working from home, and just having a little bit more choice. But it's not all businesses. Some people will think that you're talking in a different language.
Yeah, no. Well, for some companies that we think say like, oh, well, how do you know that they're doing the work? Like at the end of the day, if the clients are happy and we're happy, that's what matters.
Yep.
Like no one needs to be chained to a desk these days.
No.
All my team can work from a laptop anywhere in the world. I don't care.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? They're paid to do a job.
Yeah.
And as long
got it right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, unless we're on a production day, that's it. We still like coming into the office, like I do anyway. I'm more productive in the office. However, I know that some of them like to be working with the partners.
Yeah.
Or they like to be in the sun, or they like to work abroad.
Yeah.
Well, who am I to stop them from doing that? No, I would never do that.
If the productivity's there,
that's it.
Who cares? That's it.
Yeah.
But some businesses will not see it like that.
Yeah,
And to be honest, that's a challenge in the wellbeing industry as well.
Yeah.
Is that some people see it as fluffy. It's not an essential piece to have. It's just it's a new age thing.
Yeah.
They don't need it,
Because people shout about like, oh, you should all be together at all times. Well, I don't think that's right, because there's Teams calls. We collaborate on a weekly basis, brainstorming sessions or anything like that.
Yep.
As long as we can get together that once a week, that's all that matters.
Yeah, of course it is. And actually, I bet the productivity is way higher than if everybody
the
was
team
in
are
the office.
happier.
Yeah.
They're consistently saying how happy they are.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah, it is. It's about your people at the end of the day. If you don't have good people in your business, then you're not going to have a very good business.
We can't have no bad eggs in here, Lara.
No, I don't think you would.
You
wouldn't attract them.
No, that's one thing that I stick by. One bad egg, like I say, it's like a domino effect.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah. It can completely affect the rest, infect, in fact.
Yes, that's it.
The rest of your organisation, yeah. Your culture piece is probably the most important.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today, Lara.
Thank you so much for having me.